She blocked his number months ago, deleted every thread, cleared every archive, changed providers, changed locks. So explain why the voicemails kept arriving. Not from unknown callers, not from hidden numbers, but recorded at night, captured indoors, tagged with her address. Each message lasted less than 10 seconds. No speech, only breathing. Slow, measured, close. The final file contained a sound she recognized immediately. Her kitchen floor. Silence. 2 seconds. These are 4 true accounts of love that didn't end when it was supposed to. He never raised his voice. I want to begin by stating something clearly. Nobody who knew them thought anything was wrong. Neighbors described quiet evenings. Co-workers mentioned thoughtful gestures. Family recalled polite conversations. No shouting, no slammed doors, no visible fear. They shared a 1-bedroom unit above a closed bookstore. 2nd floor. Rear entrance. 1 narrow staircase that creaked halfway up. She had lived there first. 3 years. Thin walls, unreliable plumbing, radiator noise during Harmattan nights. Nothing unusual. He moved in after 6 months of dating. 2 suitcases. A box labeled office supplies. Another marked records. He asked permission before touching anything. Spoke gently. Waited for replies. He never interrupted. At first, that felt like care. Mornings followed a routine. Kettle at 6. Window cracked open. Shoes placed side by side near the door. Evenings remained calm. Soft music. Low lighting. Phones face down during meals. Arguments never escalated. Disagreements ended quietly. Resolutions arrived quickly. Too quickly. She noticed it during the 3rd month. He would respond before questions finished forming, not completing sentences, anticipating conclusions. When she paused mid-thought, he nodded. When she hesitated, he reassured. When she changed direction, he corrected, gently. Once, she mentioned a headache. He brought water and tablets she never asked for. Another time, she canceled dinner plans. He described the restaurant's layout accurately, though he had never visited. She laughed it off. Coincidence felt easier than concern. Objects shifted slightly. Not missing, not broken, just adjusted. A mug handle turned inward. Curtains drawn unevenly. Chairs aligned closer together than before. She blamed exhaustion. Sleep became lighter. She woke hearing movement that stopped when she opened her eyes. Footsteps that didn't continue. Breathing that wasn't hers. When she asked, he smiled. Said nothing. Later, she began journaling. Dates, times, small observations. One entry mentioned a disagreement about finances. Another recorded a remark he denied making. He read the notebook one evening, asked why she wrote lies. Her handwriting stared back at her. Her words, her phrasing. But the memory felt misplaced. She started recording conversations, just audio. Phone face down, screen dark. Playback changed everything. His voice sounded familiar. Hers did not. The tone felt flatter, responses shorter, pauses longer. Listening felt like overhearing strangers. She confronted him. He remained calm. Asked when she began feeling confused. Asked whether work stress had increased. Asked whether she remembered last winter accurately. He cited examples, dates she couldn't place, stories she half recalled. Arguments she swore never happened. Friends noticed distance. Family suggested rest. He offered support, scheduled appointments, attended sessions, spoke on her behalf when words failed. Recordings disappeared. Journal pages tore cleanly along the spine. One night, she stayed awake, lights off, breathing slow, phone charging across the room at exactly 2:14 a.m. He whispered her name, not loudly, not urgently, testing. She didn't respond. He repeated it, same tone, same spacing. Then came her voice, clear, accurate, familiar. Answering him. She did not remember speaking. Morning brought clarity. She packed essentials, left while he showered, didn't look back. Weeks passed. Silence followed. Then, during an interview for this account, she paused mid-sentence, corrected herself, smiled politely, and repeated a phrase he used to say whenever she hesitated, word for word. Reactions began arriving early, before explanations, before disclosures, before awareness fully formed. I mentioned discomfort. She replied with solutions matching circumstances I never described: weather conditions, lighting angles, background sounds. Accuracy unsettled me. I dismissed it as intuition. Later, during a call, she referenced a spill near my desk. I hadn't mentioned it. Another evening, she commented on a flickering bulb above my sink. That fixture existed. That problem persisted. I never shared it. Curiosity replaced ease. During video conversations, her gaze drifted, not toward my face, toward corners. She asked about shelving height. She commented on wall spacing. She referenced the distance between my bed and door. Measurements felt exact. I adjusted camera angles. She continued describing unseen areas: closet depth, window alignment, the sound floorboards made near the entrance. I laughed nervously. She smiled. Thoughts surfaced privately. Concerns formed internally. Before articulation, she spoke them aloud, verbatim. Phrasing matched internal monologue, pauses aligned. Cadence mirrored cognition. I froze. She asked why silence followed. I couldn't answer. Mental notes no longer felt private. Ideas escaped without speech. Fears surfaced externally. She repeated them calmly, as reassurance, as understanding, as proof of closeness. Sleep deteriorated. Dreams blurred waking. Voices overlapped thoughts. When anxiety spiked, affection followed. When calm returned, warmth faded. Patterns emerged quietly. I stopped thinking freely, filtered reactions internally, silenced reflections. She noticed absence, asked whether something felt off, used my own unspoken wording. I realized then, nothing I kept remained mine, and she never asked permission to know. Boundaries required testing, not confrontation, not accusation, verification. I altered details casually, mentioned a cafe across town, described noise that didn't exist, invented traffic delays. Correction arrived immediately. Not questioning, not uncertainty. Correction. She named the actual street, described storefront colors accurately, commented on a bus stop nearby. My pulse accelerated. I changed tactics, claimed a visit elsewhere, referenced unfamiliar landmarks, introduced fictional companions. Her response adjusted instantly. She explained why my description didn't match surroundings, pointed out inconsistencies gently, suggested fatigue affected perception. I stopped improvising. Fear settled quietly. Breathing shortened. Shoulders tightened. Jaw locked. Rest deteriorated. Sleep fractured into brief intervals. Dreams felt monitored. Awakenings arrived abruptly. I lay still for hours, listening, counting breaths, waiting for vibrations that sometimes arrived without notification. Silence grew oppressive. No messages, no calls, no reassurance. Absence felt deliberate. Then, without warning, contact resumed, warm, affectionate, concerned. Relief surged. Dependence formed unnoticed. I learned what silence signaled. Distance followed calm. Connection followed distress. I stayed awake intentionally. Lights off. Curtains closed. Screen face down. Minutes stretched. Thoughts echoed loudly. Eventually, a message appeared. No sound. No vibration. Just text. I know you're awake. I did not respond. Another line followed. You always stop breathing like that. Tears surfaced without sound. Sleep never arrived afterward. Morning light felt unreal. Days blurred. Conversations shortened. Words chosen carefully. Thoughts suppressed before completion. Silence became safer than honesty. And still, she knew. She always knew, even when nothing was said. Understanding arrived gradually, not through confession, not through discovery of tools, not through evidence recovered from hardware. Inspection revealed nothing. No unfamiliar software, no hidden programs, no mirrored access points. Technicians found clean systems. Security audits returned normal results. Permissions remained unchanged. There had been no intrusion, no surveillance, no external access. The realization felt disorienting. Attention shifted inward. Reviewing months of interaction uncovered patterns previously overlooked. Every detail she possessed originated from me, casually offered, repeated unconsciously, reinforced through habit. I filled silences with explanation, clarified unnecessary context, corrected imagined misunderstandings. Each reassurance supplied data. Each attempt at closeness provided structure. I narrated routines without noticing, described environments without intent, explained thoughts aloud to feel understood. She never extracted information. She waited. When anxiety surfaced, she responded warmly. When calm appeared, connection cooled, affection followed distress precisely. Distance followed confidence. Relief became conditional. Fear became currency. Over time, reactions adjusted automatically. Heart rate increased before messages. Breath shortened during pauses. Thoughts sought approval before forming. Behavior adapted. Movements slowed. Decisions hesitated. Language softened. She reinforced responses subtly, validated worry, dismissed certainty, rewarded unease. The conditioning occurred incrementally. No single moment marked the change. Small adjustments accumulated. Repetition shaped instinct. I learned which emotions sustained closeness, which silence provoked attention, which distress restored warmth. She never needed access. Observation was unnecessary. My own reaction supplied everything. I rehearsed vulnerability constantly. She refined it. Eventually, fear activated automatically, before contact, before absence, before any stimulus. Relief followed on cue. I mistook relief for love. The process ended without confrontation. Understanding arrived quietly. By then, responses no longer required her presence. Patterns continued independently. Anxiety surfaced without trigger. Compliance followed without request. Anticipation replaced thought. Training completed itself. Even now, distance does not undo it. Reactions persist. Muscle memory remains. And I still feel safest when fear returns. Termination occurred quietly. No argument, no explanation, no closure. Contact ceased through deliberate absence. Numbers erased, applications removed, permissions revoked, distance returned. Silence followed. At first, relief surfaced unexpectedly, breathing lengthened. Shoulders lowered, thoughts resumed movement. Daily routines shifted, windows opened wider, lights remained on longer, music returned softly during evenings. I restructured habits intentionally. Routes varied, schedules loosened, meals occurred spontaneously. Choice felt unfamiliar. Freedom required rehearsal. Weeks passed. Autonomy strengthened gradually. Sleep improved incrementally. Dreams regained clarity. Morning awareness sharpened. No messages arrived. No vibrations interrupted pockets. Calm settled unevenly. Yet behaviors persisted. Doors locked twice. Curtains adjusted carefully. Voices lowered during calls. I paused before typing. Deleted sentences repeatedly, checked surroundings without cause. Awareness lingered. Reflex replaced reason. Independence existed intellectually. Physically, patterns remained. I avoided certain expressions, stopped sharing precise times, hesitated before movement. No one asked, still. Explanations formed internally. I caught myself narrating actions aloud, corrected phrasing mid-sentence, adjusted posture unconsciously. Certain thoughts never completed. They stalled before clarity. Even alone, caution governed behavior. Screens faced downward, devices muted frequently. Lights dimmed instinctively. Nothing indicated presence. Nothing confirmed observation. Yet reactions persisted. I live alone now. No shared access. No tracking enabled. No scheduled check-ins. Still, before sleeping, I pause. Listen briefly. Lower breathing, and arrange the room exactly the way someone else preferred it. She only loved me when I was afraid. I'm speaking quietly because the closet door does not close properly. Light enters through the hinge gap. Dust clings to hanging fabric. My phone screen stays dimmed. I'm not alone. She knows where I am. When we met, distance protected everything. Different cities, different routines, different nights. Calls filled the silence. Messages replaced touch. Screens created safety. She watched attentively, remembered dates, tracked moods, noticed pauses. I mistook attention for care. She asked questions constantly: where I walked, what I ate, which route I preferred, why I hesitated before answering. Concern sounded gentle. Sharing felt intimate. I offered details freely. Photos of my street, videos of my room, casual remarks about schedules. She listened, always listening. Time zones blurred, sleep shortened, notifications multiplied. If I missed a call, she followed immediately. If I replied late, she asked why. If I hesitated, she reassured at first and she reacted before explanations formed. I mentioned rain. She described the sound against my window. I referenced work. She named colleagues accurately. I laughed. Coincidence seemed reasonable. One night I moved my desk. Next morning she commented on chair placement. Another evening I changed routes home. She asked why traffic sounded different. I stopped sharing pictures. She filled gaps herself, described furniture angles, counted steps from door to bed, mentioned a loose floorboard. I never told her. Fear arrived quietly. Breathing changed. Sleep fractured. I tested boundaries, sent false locations, delayed responses deliberately. Correction arrived instantly. She knew. I stopped lying. Silence replaced warmth. Her tone shifted. Affection appeared only after anxiety. Comfort followed distress. Calm brought distance. I learned the pattern. Fear sustained connection. One night, I unplugged everything. No signal, no sound, no light. Darkness felt heavy. My phone vibrated. No service indicator, just vibration. A single message appeared. Why are you hiding? I didn't respond. I moved furniture quietly, entered the closet, closed the door. Now I whisper, because footsteps echo outside my building, because breathing syncs with mine, because comfort only comes when terror returns. And I have never felt more loved than I do right now. Connection began across cities separated by hours. Traffic, weather, routines, screens bridged absence. Notifications replaced proximity. Signals carried presence. Communication remained constant. Morning greetings arrived before alarms. Midday check-ins matched lunch breaks. Nightly conversations stretched past sleep. Frequency felt reassuring. Availability suggested commitment. She framed contact as devotion. Protection appeared thoughtful. Questions arrived softly. Reminders followed gently. Concerns surfaced wrapped in care. She noticed fatigue. She sensed hesitation. She anticipated needs. Nothing felt excessive. Devices became shared spaces. Phones rested nearby. Location markers stayed enabled. Video windows remained open during chores. Faces lingered while meals cooled. Voices filled rooms during silence. Screens glowed while lamps stayed dark. Distance demanded substitutes. Tracking replaced touch. Updates replaced embraces. Presence transformed into data. She checked routes during commutes. She watched dots move across maps. She commented on delays before explanations formed. Concern sounded reasonable. After all, distance created risks. Late replies invited worry. Missed calls suggested danger. Silence implied harm. She responded instantly. If anxiety surfaced, reassurance followed. If uncertainty appeared, guidance arrived. If fear emerged, comfort returned. Attention felt steady. Attentiveness felt loving. Friends commented positively. They called it dedication. They admired consistency. They praised effort. No shouting, no jealousy voiced. No demands spoken, only awareness, only care, only presence. Normalcy settled quietly, routine disguised dependence, and nothing at first felt wrong. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday. White, unmarked, standard postage, recipient name printed neatly. Mine. Postmark indicated a city we once visited together. I opened it immediately. Inside lay a folded letter. The date shocked me. 3 years after the breakup. 3 years after he died. I froze. No explanation accompanied the paper. Ink faded slightly but legible. Every word familiar. Every phrase exactly the way he spoke. I did not recognize ownership. I did not understand origin. I felt hands tremble. Fingers pressed against the paper. Air tightened in my chest. A second envelope appeared 2 weeks later. Identical handwriting, same postmark, same impossible date. The letters referenced events that could not have occurred. Stories continued where memory ended. Memories I shared with him, rewritten. Details I could not recall perfectly, inserted as if remembered. I tried to dismiss it. Clarity demanded rationality. No one alive could have sent these. No return address existed. The postmark itself seemed fabricated, yet the stamps bore official marks. I touched them, raised textures, edges worn naturally, faded ink consistent with handling. Something had crossed time, or I could not process either option. I tried to shred the first letter. It returned in the second envelope, folded identically, edges aligned, ink smudged slightly but intact. I asked neighbors. No one delivered mail for me. Postal Service verified origin. Human error denied. The envelope existed alone, unattended. I began documenting everything. Dates, times, descriptions. Patterns emerged slowly. Each arrival coincided with moments of heightened vulnerability. I noticed fear dictated response. Anxiety crept back before opening letters. Heart accelerated without conscious thought. The language matched his voice perfectly, even the pauses, the phrasing, the way sentences curved unnaturally at the end. I never wrote back. I tried to ignore them. Silence proved temporary. Another envelope arrived, physical this time. Handwriting unmistakable. The envelope contained small items, objects I had left in his apartment, photographs, books, pens. Each item returned in perfect condition. The experience undermined reason. I asked myself repeatedly who orchestrated this. Each theory failed. Friends suggested prank. Family suggested coincidence. Authorities suggested forgery. Nothing explained chronology. Nothing explained impossibility. And each day, envelopes continued. They arrived in morning mail, evening collections, random days without pattern. I never predicted timing. I never prevented entry. Yet each arrived precisely when I thought of him most, even after years. I stopped sleeping fully. Dread returned gradually. Anxiety shaped movements. Steps slowed. Hands shook unconsciously. I kept letters in a drawer. Separated, cataloged, numbered, tried to rationalize, tried to ignore sensation. Yet, instinct demanded attention. We broke up 3 years ago. The separation appeared ordinary. No screaming, no smashed doors, no threats. No one needed intervention. Everything ended clearly. Mutual understanding dictated parting. Acknowledgement of incompatibility. Acceptance of divergence. We divided belongings quietly. Photos stacked in separate boxes. Furniture relocated without conflict. Clothing packed efficiently. Neither party demanded excess. Neither party lingered unnecessarily. Emotions remained present. Pain existed. Sadness lingered. Yet it felt manageable. Friends observed discussions. They noted polite exchanges. They noted closure achieved without coercion. Family witnessed brief farewells. No arguments recorded. No unresolved tension visible. Interaction stopped gradually. Messages dwindled naturally. Calls ceased without confrontation. Daily life resumed independently. Routines rebuilt. Schedules adapted. Habits readjusted. Ordinary life replaced shared routines. No surveillance occurred. No unexpected visits. No unexplained contact. At first, I felt relief. The world seemed stable. The apartment quiet. The streets unchanged. Work continued. Meals prepared independently. Sleep occurred without interruption. Time moved forward predictably. I could breathe fully, walk freely, think clearly. Yet even in this ordinary frame, tiny anomalies appeared. A letter misplaced once. A book shifted slightly. A photograph found in a different location. Each time, I paused. I wondered whether memory faltered or if coincidence acted deliberately. Despite these subtle intrusions, life largely remained intact. The breakup seemed clean, everything in order. No chaos persisted, no threat existed, no contact enforced, no fear encouraged. The relationship appeared fully concluded, yet underlying unease lingered. A feeling unspoken, something unmeasured. Even while living alone, arranging furniture exactly as I liked, and walking streets without anticipation. I sometimes hesitated, paused before opening doors, glanced over shoulders unnecessarily, all actions subtle, all movements cautious. Normalcy remained intact, surface calm preserved, routine regained, but instinct whispered something was not finished. Something could reappear without warning, and I could not yet articulate what that might be. Silence pressed against thought. Stillness amplified suspicion. Even absence seemed purposeful. I carried on as if free. Yet at intervals, I found myself imagining eyes behind walls, fingertips touching surfaces just after I left them, shadows occupying spaces I had vacated moments earlier. The world outside maintained order. Inside, unease persisted, and I sensed that completion was never truly achieved. Weeks passed. Then the first email appeared. No subject line, no signature, no identifying address, just words. Apologetic, gentle, measured carefully. The phrasing struck instantly. It mirrored him exactly. Every punctuation, every pause, every casual inflection. It began referencing moments we had shared years ago. Conversations in cafes, walks through parks, songs heard on rainy nights, details precise enough to be unsettling. I stared at the screen, hands trembling slightly, air thick in lungs, chair creaking beneath weight shifted instinctively. The email continued. Acknowledged mistakes. Mentioned small regrets I had long forgotten. Described actions I only remembered partially. The tone felt intimate, familiar, comforting, but impossible. No sender information existed, no address, no metadata, no traceable IP. I reread it, every word, every line break. Recognition mixed with confusion. Why had it arrived now? Why after all this time? Why so specific? A second email followed days later, even more detailed, mentioned conversations we never had aloud, referenced disagreements that never escalated, echoed personal reflections I hadn't spoken aloud. I began cataloging them, creating a timeline, noting phrases repeated verbatim from our past, observing patterns I couldn't explain. Every email seemed tailored to moments I was currently experiencing, arriving precisely when my mind revisited memories. One morning, a message appeared after a dream in which I recalled his laughter in the kitchen. Email began. I remember the sound too. Do you still? I sat frozen. No reply sent, no acknowledgement made. A third arrived, contained references to furniture placement in my apartment. Even minor shifts in photographs, precise counts of books on shelves, small gestures I performed unconsciously. No explanation provided. I traced headers, investigated email service, verified addresses. No human could have sent them. Yet every word felt personal, every memory accurate, every phrase unmistakably his voice. I began noticing other phenomena. Objects subtly rearranged after emails arrived. Pens aligned differently. Chairs adjusted. Drawers slightly open. No physical intrusion could be verified, yet items moved, each time in ways aligning with what emails described. I stopped sleeping fully. Afternoons blurred into evenings. Hours extended without conscious observation. Dreams repeated fragments of the past, described in correspondence. I began whispering aloud when alone, to test whether phrases would be repeated, to see if letters responded. They did not reply immediately, yet each following day, Subtle correlation appeared, a reference to what I had whispered. A note about a movement I had performed, a description of an object I had touched. Accuracy unnerved me. Familiar phrasing cemented the sensation. The voice of the past, dead, absent, unreachable, resurfaced continuously. Each interaction confirmed the uncanny, and every time I opened the messages, a quiet dread lingered, because the letters implied awareness, and I knew I had never sent them. Yet somehow the memories they contained felt alive. Intimate, intentionally observed, correspondence shifted tone. Content moved forward, no longer confined to shared history, no longer limited to recollection. Messages began describing occurrences that followed separation, events from years later, moments lived alone, choices never discussed. A message referenced a cafe visited last month. Another mentioned a book purchased recently. A third described a route taken home after sunset. Accuracy felt deliberate. I checked timestamps. Each prediction preceded action. Decisions appeared anticipated. I planned quietly, considered alternatives internally, changed direction suddenly. Confirmation arrived regardless. Descriptions matched final outcomes. Even abandoned plans received mention. Options I weighed silently appeared acknowledged. I stopped planning. Still, messages continued. They arrived during hesitation, during indecision, during moments of doubt. Guidance replaced suggestion. Language softened persuasion. Phrases implied familiarity with intent, not observation. Expectation. Digital contact paused abruptly. Silence stretched. Days passed without notification. Relief surfaced briefly. Then envelopes appeared. Physical, folded carefully, addressed precisely. Handwriting stopped my breath. Curves, spacing, pressure, recognizable instantly. I held the paper longer than necessary. Texture felt ordinary. Weight felt correct. Ink absorbed naturally. Nothing appeared altered. Inside lay short notes. Apologies resumed. Acknowledgements followed. Sentences referenced choices I hadn't made yet. A job application, a planned move, a conversation postponed. I checked calendars, dates aligned with future intentions. I hid the letters. They reappeared stacked neatly. Aligned edges, ordered sequence, no entry point discovered. Locks remained intact. Neighbors noticed nothing. Postal service confirmed delivery, yet no carrier recalled these items. The handwriting never varied. Each loop identical, each stroke familiar. Recognition triggered involuntary response. Muscles tightened, breath shortened, memory flooded, sleep deteriorated again. Dreams replayed futures already referenced. Waking moments blurred with anticipation. I stopped opening envelopes immediately. They waited patiently, unread, yet present. Pressure mounted. Every decision felt witnessed. Every pause felt recorded. Silence became louder than messages. I realized escalation wasn't arrival frequency. It was inevitability, no matter what I chose. The correspondence already knew, and the handwriting proved remembrance never ended. The truth arrived quietly. Not in a sudden message, not through confrontation, not by someone knocking. It appeared in reflection. I revisited old devices, archived drafts, unsent emails, notes saved in folders I had forgotten, text messages never delivered. Patterns emerged. Every phrase attributed to him mirrored my own handwriting. Every apology reflected my voice. Every recollection contained memory I had unconsciously typed. I traced origins carefully, cross-referenced timelines, reviewed timestamps. No one ever sent anything. No external hand orchestrated these communications. I had, unknowingly, repeatedly, over years, every thought I believed observed became documentation. Every hesitation I mistook for anticipation became instruction. I had sustained the correspondence alone. The letters, the emails, the physical envelopes, the uncanny timing, the predictions of choices, all created by me. Memories I assumed accurate were mine. Reflections I mistook for someone else's voice were my own. The handwriting recognized. My own hand. My own rhythm. Curvature matching drafts left in folders untouched. The realization shattered stability. I had anticipated myself, conditioned fear responses in my own mind, responded to prompts only I could generate, crafted messages I believed external. Every escalation, every precise observation, every calculated silence. I orchestrated them subconsciously. I had trained myself. Responses arose automatically, reactions shaped by prior exposure to drafts, expectations built on previous messages I composed. I became both observer and observed. No external X, no haunting, no impossibility, only memory, habit, and compulsion colliding, the envelopes, the letters, the uncanny coincidences, all fueled by drafts saved and forgotten, all sustained by subconscious repetition. I had, in effect, maintained the relationship entirely, alone. Months, years, even letters dated posthumously, were reflections of myself. Every fear I experienced, every anxiety I nurtured, every pause I waited for, every thrill of impossible accuracy, generated internally. I realized then that what I had believed to be outside influence, the uncanny timing, the recognition of thought, the prediction of decisions, had always originated within me. The X never reached out. I had maintained connection, created correspondence, anticipated behavior, responded unconsciously, reinforced my own patterns. I had haunted my cell, and yet even knowing this, unease remained. Because the correspondence did not feel entirely voluntary. Because drafts, notes, and unsent messages somehow carried weight beyond conscious control. Because my mind, conditioned over years, continued anticipating responses I knew would never arrive. And though the relationship ended officially, psychologically, it never had. I had written myself into a cycle I could not escape. And even now, reading old letters, handling envelopes, listening to drafts played back in my own voice, I pause instinctively before acting, arrange objects, type sentences, walk down familiar streets, because somewhere inside I still anticipate him. Though he never existed, eventually I stopped typing, stopped opening drafts, stopped rereading old emails, stopped assembling envelopes. Fingers rested. Screens stayed dark. Pens remained untouched. For the first time in years, the cycle halted. No correspondence followed. No letters arrived. No messages appeared. Nothing from the outside. Nothing from the past. Silence stretched outward, vast and unbroken. At first, relief surfaced. Breathing lengthened. Joints loosened. Eyes drifted freely. Thoughts wandered without pause. Routine resumed superficially. Coffee prepared without reflection. Streets navigated casually. Rooms occupied without anticipation. Objects replaced carelessly. And yet, an emptiness pressed inward, a void deeper than before. Because the absence of messages carried weight. No voice echoed. No phrase arrived. No handwriting confirmed existence. Nothing. Silence became more oppressive than letters ever were. I noticed it first while walking alone. Footsteps echoed differently without the expectation of accompaniment. Air felt heavier without anticipation. Every pause stretched unnaturally long. Sleep returned, but uneasily. Dreams lacked context. Even morning light felt hollow. I moved through life carefully, arranged objects, recalled phrases, paused before decisions. Because absence, I realized, demanded more attention than presence. Letters had anchored fear. Emails had guided expectation. Envelopes had rehearsed hesitation. Now, without them, uncertainty filled every corner. The quiet lingered like a weight on bones. My own thoughts became the only companion. Yet they whispered louder than correspondence ever had. The mind invented messages, recreated phrases, imagined predictions. I checked screens, opened folders, refolded letters. Nothing awaited me. Still, instinct sharpened, breath shortened before movement, hands tightened before touch, eyes flicked toward corners, windows, doors. Silence, after years of haunting correspondence, felt heavier, more invasive, more impossible to escape. And I understood fully that what terrorized me was not the letters themselves, not the envelopes, not the emails. It was the absence, the void left in their place. The mind now forced to supply every observation, every phrase, every prediction. Alone, I realized, was worse than haunted. Because without contact, imagination became absolute, and I lived like that, still waiting, anticipating. In the absence of presence, silence remains the loudest echo of all. I thought moving would help. I packed carefully, chose a city far enough to disappear. Apartment on the 4th floor. Windows facing streets I had never walked before. Neighbors unknown. I believed distance would protect me, but it did not. I began noticing patterns almost immediately. Shadows in windows across the street. Footsteps that matched my own timing. Cars parked briefly outside, engines off, then gone. A man walking my route home exactly 1 block behind me. I tried rational explanations. Coincidence, familiar city layout, random encounters, but patterns repeated. Evenings, mornings, midday, always synchronized with my presence. I began documenting meticulously times, descriptions, vehicle types, clothing details, distances. Each observation sharpened awareness. And then, the impossible became tangible. A note slipped under my door. Handwriting unmistakable. Not past handwriting, not drafts, not memory. His handwriting. I had left the city, assumed safety, assumed separation. But there it was. The note contained no threat, no apology, no request, only acknowledgement. Better now. I froze, clutched the paper carefully, fingers trembling, heart accelerating beyond control, airtight in lungs. I reread it and reread it again. It described my morning precisely. The coffee I made, the street I walked, the slight hesitation crossing intersections. Details no stranger could know, and I understood immediately. Distance, relocation, careful planning, none of it mattered. Someone had followed, or something had anticipated every step. I walked through rooms cautiously, checked locks repeatedly, double-checked windows, observed shadows in mirrors. Every step, every movement carried scrutiny. I had thought leaving would erase history. Instead, it amplified attention. Every corner held possibility. Every sound felt deliberate. Every silence carried weight. And that note, small, folded neatly, sitting on the floor, signaled more than presence. It signaled observation, constant, unbroken. Even as I fled, I realized I had not escaped. Even in a city of strangers, even in the apartment I thought safe, he, or whatever remained of him, knew. When we were together, everything felt amplified. Every word carried weight. Every glance lingered longer than usual. Every touch felt urgent, meaningful. The relationship was intense, electric, passionate beyond reason. Days revolved around attention, minutes measured by presence. Conversations stretched for hours, often into night. We consumed each other's schedules, absorbed moods, noted gestures, remembered preferences, anticipated reactions. Dependence formed naturally. Emotional reliance became habit. I checked in constantly, responded immediately, observed reactions carefully. Even minor expressions mattered. A slight pause triggered anxiety. A smile restored calm. A fleeting look dictated actions for hours afterward. We existed in a bubble. No one else mattered. No one outside noticed. No one outside intervened. When we argued, it never escalated physically. Shouting remained minimal. Words carried more sting than blows ever could. Pain existed in silence. Breakups occurred eventually. Not abruptly, not violently, but necessity framed it as inevitable. Distance, differences, mismatched paths. Separation appeared rational. Mutual understanding dictated the end. We packed belongings separately, shared items divided carefully, photographs stacked in boxes, furniture rearranged in neutral spaces. No contact remained, except through memory. Life resumed, superficially normal, Work continued. Friends visited, meals prepared alone, streets navigated without shared presence, yet intensity lingered. Memory of his gaze, tone, phrasing remained vivid. Recollections of laughter, debates, silences, sharp and persistent. Routine became intertwined with recollection. Even distance could not erase dependence. I carried habits shaped by connection. Patterns I had unconsciously adapted persisted. Decisions reflected shared preferences, conversations with others measured against past interactions. Breakup appeared clean externally. Internally, echoes remained. Emotional dependence normalized itself. Even while alone, I rearranged spaces to feel comforted, adjusted routines subtly, anticipated imaginary responses. Closure existed only partially. And yet I believed, perhaps foolishly, that leaving the city, leaving him behind physically, would dissolve this intensity. I was wrong. Because passion and attention, once embedded in thought, do not vanish entirely, even when no one is present, even when the relationship officially ended, even when the streets belong to strangers. Patterns, habit, and memory alone continue. And that, I realized slowly, was the quietest danger of all. Weeks after I moved, small parcels began appearing. No envelope, no card, no signature, no indication of origin. I did not order them. I did not expect them. I did not know the sender. The first gift arrived on a Tuesday morning. A scarf, soft, worn slightly as if handled carefully, color chosen precisely to match one I had admired months earlier. I froze. No note accompanied it. No explanation. Nothing to indicate intention. I examined it cautiously. Fingers tracing the fibers, breathing shallow. I remembered mentioning it in passing. To friends, in text, during conversation, perhaps aloud once. And suddenly it was here. Days later, another package arrived. A book, bound in leather, edges smooth, corners sharp. Inside, pages smelled faintly of ink I remembered. Not new, not old, timeless. I had commented once, casually, about acquiring it. Never expected acquisition, yet it appeared. Still no note, no sender, no evidence of delivery other than the package itself. The pattern escalated. A pen, precisely the one I had mentioned admiring in a cafe months ago. A photograph frame, similar to one I had once shown a friend. A candle, identical to a scent I had described while shopping. Every item arrived quietly. No contact preceded delivery. No communication followed. Only presence. I began cataloging them. Dates, times, contents, textures, possible sources. Postal records yielded nothing. Neighbors reported no activity. Cameras revealed only normal city traffic, and yet the items arrived consistently. I could not explain them. I never opened packages immediately. Waited, examined cautiously, noted small imperfections, subtle signs of handling. Everything reflected past mentions, conversations I barely remembered, thoughts I had spoken aloud once, even wishes I had voiced casually to myself. All materialized without origin. I did not recognize handwriting on labels, no ink inscription, no stamps indicating origin. Nothing linked the parcels to anyone alive. Still, the gifts carried familiarity, and the more I examined, the more unease grew, because the absence of explanation felt deliberate. No apology, no claim, no greeting, no threat, just items, precisely chosen, precisely timed. Each arrival coinciding with moments I remembered wishing for them, moments I remembered discussing them, even minor details, previously forgotten, now manifest. I stopped mentioning items aloud, stopped thinking casually about desires, stopped leaving glimpses of preference, and still, gifts continued. Timing remained uncanny. Always when I left the apartment. Always when streets were empty. Always when thoughts of him surfaced unbidden. Fear resurfaced gradually, not from threat, not from confrontation, not from observation, from uncertainty. From knowing someone or something knew me deeply, without being seen, without contact, without acknowledgement. I began checking entrances obsessively, inspected locks repeatedly. Acts of care persisted. Unexpectedly, a package arrived when I was ill. A note slipped under the door after a minor accident at the kitchen counter. A book of remedies appeared the morning I mentioned fatigue in passing. Help preceded confession. Before I had voiced concern, before I had acknowledged difficulty, assistance manifested. I did not know how. I had not contacted anyone. I had not requested aid, yet every gesture aligned precisely with need. Initially, relief surfaced. A soothing presence seemed to follow. Moments of danger avoided quietly. Threats anticipated and removed before recognition. I felt safest while leaving rooms, streets, or public spaces. A misstep, a wrong turn, a forgotten item. Assistance arrived before acknowledgement, and still, the timing unnerved me, because safety, once automatic, now felt orchestrated. I began to notice patterns. Doors clicked closed gently when I passed. Locks engaged without my action. Lights flickered back on after being switched off accidentally. Objects I thought misplaced returned to precise positions. Even while no one appeared present, I monitored every movement, measured breathing in quiet moments, noticed subtle shifts in shadows, reflections, surfaces. Even when calm seemed restored, unease remained. Sleep began to fragment. Dreams blurred reality with intervention. I awoke convinced assistance had occurred during the night. Objects shifted. Footsteps echoed. Faint touches pressed lightly on surfaces. Morning brought relief briefly. Yet tension built in silence. I stepped into rooms cautiously, checked windows and locks repeatedly, walked hallways slowly, deliberately, observed corners and mirrors with scrutiny. Even mundane routines became exercises in awareness. I did not trust absence. I did not trust presence, because care arrived before I asked, before I noticed difficulty, before I expected support. The unknown orchestrator remained unseen, unknown, unaccountable, and still their help persisted. I began planning movements carefully, measuring timing of steps, pausing before acting, delaying decisions. Even though logically, no threat existed, unease continued to grow, relief now mixed with apprehension, safety intertwined with vigilance, comfort shadowed by expectation. Even after relocating across streets, neighborhoods, avenues, even after varying routes, schedules, and routines, even after weeks of silence following each act of assistance, every helpful gesture carried weight. Every prevention implied observation. Every unasked-for intervention reminded me that I was never entirely alone, and yet leaving, stepping out, walking into fresh air. Those moments paradoxically felt safest, because distance diluted control, because motion disrupted patterns, because I imagined freedom, even if illusory. Still, unease lingered, uncertainty stretched infinitely, because care, once benign, now implied surveillance. And I knew, deep down, that even when absent physically, attention persisted. Even when leaving spaces, traveling streets, walking alone, I was never fully unobserved. And the quiet dread, subtle but insistent, grew louder than any footsteps, any package, any note. The discovery arrived silently. I learned it gradually, through conversation, through records, through careful verification. The X, long believed capable of watching, of following, of orchestrating every act, was no longer alive, months dead. Hospital records confirmed it, family verified, official documents corroborated. And yet, the care persisted. Packages appeared still. Gifts arrived quietly. Notes slipped under doors. Objects returned to exact positions. Assistants continued to anticipate need. No explanation ever arrived. No handwriting differed. No message clarified intent. No intervention revealed mechanism. Every act of kindness, precision, foresight, and uncanny timing continued. I questioned reality. Logic failed repeatedly. Observation yielded nothing. Cameras revealed ordinary traffic. Neighbors reported no unusual activity. Postal records indicated normal deliveries. Still, items appeared. Still, help arrived. Still, patterns persisted. And then it became clear, slowly, gradually, impossibly. The acts themselves were no longer about the person, no longer about observation, no longer about interaction. They had transformed into ritual. a repetition of patterns, a reenactment of devotion, a cycle preserved beyond mortality. The love that had once been living, passionate, and intense had become self-sustaining, autonomous, unbound by physical presence. Every package, every intervention, every gesture functioned independently of intention, operated regardless of time, occurring because it had always occurred. I realized then that I was witnessing the residue of affection, the echo of obsession, the continuation of ritualized devotion. The impossibility of explanation became irrelevant. The acts carried meaning, but the source had dissolved, love had transcended life, and I, unwilling observer, remained within its orbit. Every gift, every intervention, every uncanny timing no longer belonged to him, no longer required him, no longer served anyone alive. Yet it persisted, as if ritual itself had gained consciousness. And I understood finally, with chilling clarity, that some forms of attachment do not end, even when bodies vanish, even when hands cease to move, even when the heart stops entirely. The love continued, not human, not living, not explainable, and I remained subject to it. The pattern, the care, the precise interventions became ritualized, immutable, inevitable, and in that realization, dread surpassed every fear I had experienced before. Because there is no negotiation with ritual, no argument, no closure, no retreat, only observation, only participation, and the quiet understanding that I would never walk unaccompanied again, even when the streets were empty, even when doors closed behind me, even when no one existed to see. Because the ritual continued, and in its persistence, love became something more terrifying than absence, more invasive than presence, a living shadow with no body. Eventually, I stopped accepting assistance. No packages, no notes, no interventions. I refused gifts left at doorways, ignored objects carefully returned to their proper positions, avoided gestures intended to protect. For the first time in months, silence stretched fully around me. At first, relief surfaced. Breathing lengthened. Movements felt my own. Choices belonged entirely to me. But consequences arrived swiftly. Locks jammed. Lights flickered unpredictably. Doors resisted. Objects shifted without explanation. Minor accidents multiplied. Coffee spilled. Faucets leaked. Items fell from shelves. Every minor misstep magnified. I realized too late that protection had always demanded something. Each gesture of care carried unseen obligation. Each intervention exacted subtle payment. Even when offered freely, it was never truly free. The absence of participation awakened forces I had ignored. Every street walked alone felt riskier. Every room entered without attention felt exposed. Every object I handled without ritualistic care seemed to react. I understood then that safety had come with cost. Not financial, not legal, not even visible. It was compliance, observation, a subtle agreement I had never articulated consciously. Yet abandoning it triggered repercussions. I moved cautiously now, measured every step, arranged items meticulously, checked windows and locks repeatedly, avoided expressing desires aloud. Even silence felt charged, because the very air remembered neglect, the very walls echoed disobedience, the very objects carried consequence. Freedom had been an illusion, protection always conditional, and I realized finally, with a quiet, unbearable dread, that I had lived under guardianship I could not opt out of, that care, love, attention, once given, demands repayment, not in currency, not in acknowledgement, but in vigilance, in compliance, in perpetually anticipating intervention. Even now, I move carefully through spaces I thought mine. Even now, I pause before touching objects. Even now, I hesitate before leaving rooms. Because protection, I learned, was never free. And I understood that I would never truly be alone. Not in streets, not in apartments, not in quiet moments. The acts that once comforted now constrain. The love that once nurtured now controls. And the silence, heavier than any haunting, reminds me constantly. Freedom is an illusion. Safety has a cost. And care, once offered, never departs without demand. The air thickens. Silence presses against every wall. Nothing moves. Nothing speaks. Nothing interrupts. Not even a whisper. Yet, the weight of all that transpired remains. The faint rustle of memory lingers in corners. Shadows stretch longer than light, allows empty spaces, carry meaning heavier than presence. Breath slows, heartbeat drifts into quiet. The mind strains to fill absence, and then, in that absolute stillness, I ask, slowly, softly, almost under my own breath, if someone loved you enough to destroy you, would you even recognize it while it was happening? Pause stretches. Silence answers. No relief comes. No resolution follows. No echo returns. Just stillness. A darkness not of sight, but of knowing. A weight not of hands, but of inevitability. And as the seconds stretch into the final moment, the screen goes black. The silence swells, and the question hangs, unanswered, unyielding, imprinted, forever. Fade out. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more stories that will keep you up at night. Have you ever felt watched, controlled, or manipulated by someone you loved without realizing it until it was too late?